Innovation Unplugged from the Alabama Community College System's Innovation Center takes you inside Alabama's workforce development. Join us for enlightening conversations with community leaders and industry experts showcasing experiences, addressing key issues, and celebrating successes in the workforce initiatives across the state. Welcome back to Innovation Unplugged, the podcast of the Alabama Community College System Innovation Center. I am Houston Blackwood. I'm the Workforce Director for the IC. Today I have with me Julie Frizzell, our Executive Director of the IC, and our special guest, Nicole Dubose. Nicole, would you introduce yourself, your name and title, because every college is different?
All of us tend to be a little different. Good afternoon, guys. Nicole Dubose, Director of Workforce Development at Shelton State Community College. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on. I know from previous years, previous experience, how busy you are, and the emails never stop, phone calls never stop, even out of hours. There's always a new company to serve and a new contract, things that you didn't anticipate. And we were talking earlier about your new president, John Coe, has left the workforce department and gone on. So you're picking up the calls, and we know your schedule's slammed. And so we're just thankful that you took the time. Even though we're in your town, you're taking a couple of hours to be with us. We're just thankful because you guys are doing a good thing. So we're here. It's cool to have you guys on because without y'all, Skills for Success doesn't go. It wouldn't happen if Shelton State and your colleagues around the state weren't doing the work. So we're thankful.
Well, thank you for having us on. I was excited that you guys were visiting Tuscaloosa. We were glad to have you, in our area. And you guys host us in Decatur and Montgomery quite a bit. So it's nice to throw the doors open here and have you come visit us.
Yeah, soon. Julie, we'll have our podcast studio in the Decatur building.
Yes, we're working on getting all of our equipment ordered. So, yes.
Will the setup be similar?
It will, yes.
Yeah, real.
That is our plan. That's our goal, is to have it very similar to how this is, because it's been a great facility, and making sure we have the right equipment. This will be the first time we've had to, set up a podcast room, and it's exciting. Yeah.
We talked to Nick and George earlier about once we get it set up, we will make sure they look at all the equipment and it's right. And then we still want them to do all the editing and producing. And so we'll figure out how to do that. But they're going to give us a dummy list, a podcast for dummies set up.
Well, I was thinking you take list. Yeah, the dummy list you gave us for Skills for Success. Hey, go find those things for this project.
So that's a great segue. That's a great lead in. So we started, heavy equipment started last November. No, was it September of 22?
Yeah.
Before that was food and beverage. And then, so what was it like the first time? Let's go back because this is still kind of new. What was it like the first time you heard about the Innovation Center or Skills for Success? What was your first feeling in one word?
Library.
Oh, that's a good one. Thank you.
Nobody said that. Yeah.
Is that different? I pictured mentally a library where colleges can go and lift off of those shelves the training that we needed. You've built it. Perfect. Checked it out.
All right, we're done.
Wrap it up.
That's great.
Let's go.
That is something that some of us have talked about for years, that we needed some type of curriculum exchange program. Again, interlibrary loan, if you would. And this is what Skills for Success is, if you think about it that way.
Yeah, that's not the first word I thought of. But
what was yours, Houston?
Yeah, it's not approved for
appropriate
transmission on his airwaves. But Leah sent me this flyer. She was like, "Hey, what do you know about this?" I'm like, "I don't know." And so I said words to her over the phone, but we just had no information. We talked about this on earlier episodes. Yeah. We didn't know what it was, and that's how it goes. No fault to anybody. But then once we started digging, I saw it as kind of a similar thing, and I thought, well, that's really cool. I'm going to run it. Yeah, I'm going to run it, and Calhoun's going to be great. So worked out. Now, that's good. That's a really good first word. But then let's go to the first time you got ready to run a lab, and we said, oh, here's all the stuff to do it that you need to find to go do it. So what was that feeling like when you started there?
I mean, maybe a little shocking, maybe a little of overwhelmed sentiment. And again, it's if you break it down, it's fine. It's exactly what we do on a daily basis. We tackle projects, we find instructors, we find the materials list, the equipment list, but this was a little bit different because of the origin of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is now coming from ACCS down to us and saying, here's a gift, go run with it. That's a different process than we were used to.
Yeah.
That is interesting. A gift, but you know, like, they gave it to me.
How good is it?
Yeah.
Is this going to work?
Make it work.
How do we make this work?
Right. Make it work.
Yeah.
Make the numbers run. Do it the right way, because this is also, too, the first time or one of the first times where colleges, when you're talking non-credit training, it differs from college to college. That's how you started this talk today. Every college is different. And that's a good thing sometimes. That's a strength. Yeah. We have strengths, weaknesses there at Shelton. Gadsden's different. Calhoun is different. Every college is different. But this is the one where this is the same exact product from college to college. It's not a competition, but it is.
But it is.
He took us there.
Well, but that's why when we're trying to eventually have everybody on, but early on that we wanted to set the tone, like, it is a gift. It is, we want y'all to be successful, but we want to see you work it around each other, and we want to see Gadsden State compete with Shelton and Jeff State with Shelton, to see, because iron sharpens iron.
Right.
And when you see a media post that Joe Johnson did something, well, okay.
By golly, I need to do it, and I need to double it now.
It's healthy competition.
It is healthy,
but it's helping our state. That's the main thing.
Oh, that's absolutely. But it also helps, because sometimes I'll look at something and think, that's not right. Houston didn't write this correctly. But then I'll see the post where, Leah just did it, and she did it well, and she had 20 participants. But that lets me pick the phone up to Leah and say, okay, how did you make that work?
Well, that's important. Yeah.
Communication I think it's definitely increase the communication amongst your workforce workers here at the college, seriously, at the college.
That's great to hear.
Whereas, again, 5 years ago, we didn't have that level of communication. Now we know, we can tell our teams, look, might be a tough project, but guess what? Gadsden's doing it. Calhoun's doing it. Jeff State's doing it. Sneed State's doing it. If all of these colleges are able to make that transition, and I think back when we transitioned to our CDL program, we didn't pilot it, but we were one of the earliest.
You went.
Yeah. But it was so nice to say, hey, guys, this is a challenge, and these other colleges have already done it.
Yeah.
It can be done.
For sure. What do you think about that competition side of it, Julie? And Julie is she is the lioness that, protects us and makes sure that we have everything we need.
I try. Thank you, Julie.
She goes hunting for us and brings us back everything we need. But she's also a peacemaker. Her nature is very gentle. I mean, and I say that, you're just a kind soul that wants everybody to be happy. But at the end of the day, you're responsible. You're the chief of making sure it all works right. So what does that say to you to hear that, hey, it is a gift? We do pick up the phone and talk to each other, but also I want to beat them badly. What does all that mean to you?
It's very heartwarming. No, it really is, though, because it's just validation that what we're doing and the work that our team puts into it and the work that's being done across the state to make this possible has been worthwhile. And I say that because we all work better and we all succeed when it's a team and not one. And I think that's the best thing that we can say is this has actually improved communication. It's improved the access of training. It's improved the number of times we can say yes to a business now across the state and have something to deliver and deliver quickly, because sometimes you don't know if you have curriculum or if you can find instructors. And I think it's set out to do what we anticipated. Yeah. But I think the volume and the pace that we're going now, I don't think any of us ever imagined. And that's what's heartwarming. I mean, it is, because we know it's helping you and your community with the connection that you have with your companies, which helps the workforce, which helps the economic, vitality of the community and thus the state. So it's just validation for us that the hard work that our team puts into this every day pays off. And a little healthy competition is okay. I mean, that's how the world goes, I mean, we're all competing, but it's good fun competition as well. And it's also to say, hey, not every school has a need for every course that we offer, right? It depends on what those needs are in their area. And it also says, hey, if I can do this, so can you, and let me help you. And I love that you said that. Hey, I could just pick up the phone and call Leah And I think we've heard that a lot now. We encourage that. Hey, if you haven't tried something and you're a little apprehensive, call Nicole at Shelton. She'll tell you good, bad, ugly, whatever you want to hear. But we want everybody to be successful, and we want our students to be successful. And I think that's the difference there too is, hey, the number of students that can be impacted from this, from competition, just makes it even better. I mean, that's the icing on the cake is we can serve so many more if everybody gets involved.
Well, and one thing you just mentioned, one of our projects, the mental health technician project, that really came about from an industry need.
Yeah.
That was an industry, Shelton, we met with the Alabama Department of Mental Health, the commissioner there reached out, I believe, to the chancellor. It started there. It started in Region 3 that, Tuscaloosa is the home of your state-funded mental health facilities. This is where those patients come. And we had a real shortage of really trained workers. How can we beef up that employee pool? How can we beef up the training for those new workers? How can we make this position that's so hard to fill? You have to find that special person to come in and work in these facilities. How do you sell that? How do you sell that to the community that these are state jobs, great retirement, great insurance? I mean, the job is tough, but it's rewarding. It's the rewarding kind of tough. And so when we reached out to you guys, that's where it really got interesting because we're saying, look, we need to develop this program. We have a huge need. How can we work together and bring all of our strengths together and make this thing work? And so that's really a product of this, Skills for Success program.
What has that process been like? I don't know if we've had a college on that was the pilot for a course.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that.
So what has that been like for you to be the pilot college and to drive that conversation with all, because these task forces get huge.
They're huge.
And they're important people and they have all this thought, knowledge, and experience. But what's that like for you to be in the driver's seat of that conversation?
I think the way this training has developed is so different from the way our other, training has developed in the past.
Right.
Normally, I'm working one-on-one with one employer, one automotive supplier.
Yeah.
Right. Right. In this case, we've brought together people from several walks of that mental health pathway. So what you just said, they're all very important. They're all very busy.
Yeah.
So to get them all on one page and say, guys, just please review this. I need to know that we're on the right path. That's been a bit of a challenge, but it's been a good challenge because we want it to be worthwhile training. One thing I always tell my employers is please do not let me waste your time.
Gosh, yes.
That's great.
Okay. With the training that we develop, if we develop that training and it is not what you needed it to be, everybody's time was wasted. This is, and it reflects poorly on the college as well. So that's my always interjection there is tell me what you want. If I'm giving you something and it's not what you need, stop me. Right. And let's regroup. So I think having that task force has been one of those checks and balances that we need. If something at the scope of this, the scale of this needs a task force.
Yeah.
That's one of our selling points when we go talk. Last August, I went down to it was the County Commission Association of Alabama. Is it Perdido Beach? It's a horrible place to go give a speech.
Yeah, that must have been awful for you.
It was hot that day, and I didn't have time for the beach. But anyway, I was in front of all these people.
You had to look at the beach out the window.
Yeah, really, that's all I got. But in that room were county engineers, county commissioners, operators, guys. These were real men, and there weren't many women in there for whatever reason. I remember thinking that. But I'm up there telling them, like, hey, this is what we've built. And then I remember thinking, and it's part of our show, like the task force is part of every presentation, but I had to let them know for sure that, hey, this is how we build this. Like, it wasn't just me sitting up in a room or some eggheads Googling stuff.
Right.
Like, we got y'all to the room. And what's cool about that is talking about that task force, I said to that room, hey, we're looking at a motor grader. We've had a request for a motor grader, but we don't know anything about it. Surely somebody in this room can help me. That's all I said and moved on. Well, I got done, went back to the back of the room, getting ready to go. And this guy walks up, Chris Champion from Henry County, was like, hey, I got your curriculum. You can have it. Just let's meet. And so we exchanged cards, and I called him the next week, and he literally gave us their entire curriculum, which he didn't realize it, but the way they were already doing it was the Skills for Success model. It fit perfectly.
Oh, nice.
Like all we had to do was shift like a day of classroom training into the online piece. And once I explained that to him, he was like, okay. He called me just a couple weeks ago. He was like, hey, how's it going? I said, and told him we were going good. He said, well, we're not going. He's asking all these hard questions. And I'm like, why? This guy's not in. Like, he's out. He's going to tell on us. He said, okay, well, I just had a few questions, man, and well done answering those. We're going to wait and see what y'all produce before we do one of ours again. I was like, okay, dude. You know, it was not a good time for me to be having that conversation. I had some other stuff going on, but I was like, oh, this is a godsend. So, so to hear you say that too, like that really is really helpful. Let me ask you this. This is some insider information. Who's your go-to? Who's your battle buddy among the workforce departments? Who do you always call first?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me my enemy. Like, who am I?
This is the second question.
Okay.
Who's your strongest competition?
That's where I thought we were headed. I was like,
thought you were.
They don't even know they're my competition. I can't reveal it.
Okay.
My go-to, I have two that I like to reach out and see. Three. Hey, how are you guys making this work?
Yeah.
We're struggling. All right. Joy Jones Lawson.
Yeah.
Leah Bigby.
Yeah.
Jeff State. And then Teresa Walker
Yeah.
at Sneed State. Those are my three. Those are two, you know, I think Lawson and I are similar in enrollment, so we're about the same size. Jeff State's larger enrollment.
Okay.
I want to know how the bigger college is doing it, and then I want to know Sneed State's a little bit smaller than Shelton.
Yeah.
So I want all three perspectives.
And that's really,
You know, because and again, it's that challenge of sometimes it's better being bigger. You know, hey, I've got more staff, I've got more everything. Sometimes that's harder, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But again, if your smaller colleges are really able to take whatever it is and they're making something work and it's successful and it's working, okay, I need to learn that. I need to know how they're making this work.
In different parts of the state. Yeah.
All across the state. Yeah, I want that look at it. That's where I go to.
because those are, you know, Sneed is certainly very rural, even though they're pretty close to Huntsville, and Lawson is urban. You know, Jeff State's both, and you're urban-ish.
We're a little like a foot in both sides, right? I mean, we've got we're just a little bit of both, and again, several of the programs that Teresa and Sneed State run really don't apply to Tuscaloosa, and that's all right. But it lets me know what are they doing. You know, they tend to be. She tends to look a lot, you know, for new programs, new trainings. She's always kind of on that look. She does a really good job of that.
That's a good outlook. But the most important question is, who do you like to beat?
I'm not.
She's not going there.
I'm not at all.
Try.
They don't even know they're my enemy. Not my enemy, but my competition. They don't even know it.
I was always Leah, Joe, and I like them both. I call them all the time, but just and Joe was just we're both dudes, and you know, it doesn't matter if we're drawing in crayons on the door. You know, I want to beat him.
You want to beat him.
But Calhoun and Jeff State were always, and they were the closest big comps to us, and so that's good. That's good stuff. What about, I've always had this question. So we work for the system office, and I used to have your role, and we'd get these grants, and we'd get these initiatives from the system office, and I was like, okay, we're going to go do this. And kind of like in K-12 when the superintendent or the principal was like, we're going to, whatever. Okay, fine. So what is the follow-up of our team, of the labs and all that? We're kind of in y'all's grits a little bit more so than I think other system office initiatives. What's that like? And do you see it that way? I feel like it's like that, but do you see it being that we're more involved in?
Are you asking if you're in my business?
I know I'm in y'all's business.
I mean, but the answer is yes.
Yes, okay.
But in a
What's that
good
like?
way. Okay, let me say this. Sometimes,
and like, before you answer that question, you don't like, we have thick skin and ears. So if there's feedback, let's put it out there.
Let me say, I would never put it with cameras and 3 microphones in front of me. Okay,
Well, you could have.
I'm not that person. Initiatives sometimes in our line of work, and you not in your current line, but in your past line of work, you know, sometimes the word initiative makes us. It's not a positive, great feeling sometimes, because it does feel like every 6 months we've got a new initiative.
Comes and goes.
And it comes and goes. This is one of the first initiatives where there has been support. There's been financial support. There's been personnel support. There's been, you know, this is a how-to. That's refreshing. This is not this is just an extra initiative we expect you to take on and put on your things to do. You know, it's you are in my business. I need you in my business because sometimes I'm picking up the phone and saying, Julie,
On a
what
bus.
does this mean? You know, right. I'm calling her on her vacation and I feel terrible.
No, I love it. I love it.
What were you looking at? And she's like, I see the Empire State Building. I'm like, oh, well, I'm talking about an MOU right now.
Yeah.
So, feel kind of bad about that one. But Skills for Success is an initiative that came down that actually, again, supported the colleges in reaching those goals. Mm-hmm. They're your goals, they're our goals. You know, they're not just given to the college and said, good luck.
For sure.
You know.
It's good to hear that. And I know that's true because you're not a, misleading or devious person. But it's good to hear that. And we want it to feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's, things just don't go right and you have to correct things. And it's like, you want to be everybody's buddy, but you can't.
But you can't. And that's hard. And I think that's, again, what my team and I really work towards. We're not devious. We're not trying to, beat the system.
Yeah.
It's competition.
Yeah.
We want the numbers. We want to change lives. We want to bring our students where they want to be.
Yeah.
You know, everybody that walks in the door is there for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they're lost and they stumbled in, but we're going to take them.
I think that's what's important because we have the same common goal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think that's what really makes this work with other colleges as well. We see that student is the most important person.
And if you're serving the student, then
Exactly.
you're serving the employer.
Right.
You know, and for a workforce department, those two things those are the boxes you have to check. Changing students, changing employers. And if you're linking the two of them together, we were just the happy middleman, happy to do that.
Right.
And then we get out of the way.
All right. A few crazy numbers for you, Nicole. Mm-hmm. I'm a terrible podcast person because I don't have your specific things, but we've served over right around 8,000 people since January of 2022. So that's 23 months. Mm-hmm. So 23 months over 8,000. Just this fall, we went from, I think 3 high schools we'd worked with around the state. Now we're over 55.
Nice.
In the state and more all the time. We've had this fall alone, in Canvas, we had 285 sections. So, every course you have is a different section. And then even inside your shells are different sections. And then just high school courses alone, we've had over 200. Right at 200. So that's open enrollment, that's company-based, and that's high school students. What does that say to your reach for the Shelton footprint to be able to reach the community wherever they are and whoever they are?
I think that it's challenged us to think beyond who we thought our customers were.
That's good.
Okay, because in workforce, I'm going to be honest, I've been in workforce for a while. All right. My coworkers have been in workforce for a while, but workforce has changed so much. 5 years ago, we look drastically different than we did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We really think about it.
For sure.
10 years ago, we are a different, monster now. We're a different beast than what we were. So, the good thing about workforce is we're flexible. We move fast. We can. We're not locked down.
You're not bound by things.
We're not bound. You're right. Exactly. So we're flexible. We can deal with specialized training. But this really challenged us to think, I'm going to admit something here that in the past, I've been like, oh, high school, that's not necessarily us.
Yeah.
Because I'm taught, in traditionally workforce, I'm meeting with employers. I'm upskilling existing incumbent workers, or I'm training entry-level, workers for them. That's the traditional workforce model. So as you guys have challenged us, no, you need to go visit that local high school. I'm thinking, we've got to go see the babies. Don't worry. Because look, put me in front of 500 business guys, no trouble.
Yeah.
Put me in front of 500 high school kids. Come on.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough sell.
Work with
like that was
16.
I wasn't a teacher.
Exactly. They're 16. They're 17. Those are the meanest people in the world.
That's true. I come from that world. Yeah.
All right. You know high school. Yeah.
We had a one registration. I forget where it was. Even if I knew, I wouldn't tell it. But we had this kid that registered, and in our system, there's a duplicate check to make sure that people are who they say they are and nothing's. So this kid's, he put his middle name as Farthead.
Of course he did.
And,
See, because there's
Yeah.
I mean, it's
and so Sandy like sent it to me. She said, "What do I do about this?" And I'm like, I started laughing out loud. I was like, "This is amazing."
Put it on his certificate.
Yes. Well, so that's what her. She's like, "Well, I can't go on there." I'm like, so I'm dying because that's the exact thing I would have done, or whatever you told me to do. I would have done the opposite back then. Just because I'm a mean person. So I was like, okay, well, obviously that can't stand. So just reach out to the supervisor and confirm it. Well, what she did was she went back and we started tagging when there was an error for whatever, she would tag the student and the instructor and the college person just for clarity. That was our model. But in this case, she was like, hey, so-and-so teacher, can you confirm this student's middle name? I don't know if that...
Forehead.
Yeah, I don't know if she spelled it right. She didn't say what it was. She's like, can you look at this and tell me that it's correct? And so, man, like it wasn't 5 minutes. I got an email, the teacher replied back, no, that's not it. And then Matt got involved because he's our K-12 person.
Right.
And so, and he called and the guy was like, I'm kicking the dude out. Like he can't participate. And Matt's like, no, like, come on, man. So we got that fixed. And then the kid actually sent Sandy an email back and apologized for not taking it serious because she was actually in person that day. But it was so funny. I was like, I love that because that's what I would do.
it was a situation that had to be handled.
And with high schoolers, you don't know what you're walking into, okay? Because there's no filter, there's no parameters, they're still learning what's okay and what's not.
Yeah.
But it's been a challenge for us. Again, none of us felt like, warm, squishy feelings towards the high schoolers. But that's been a challenge to get us on board and to say, no, I mean, again, the other colleges are making this work.
Yeah.
It can be done. It should be done.
Yeah.
Did you get any pushback from like the 4-credit dual enrollment? Has there been a conversation about?
I don't think so. I've not even heard, what your dual enrollment students are for us, for Shelton. They're self-motivating. They're being motivated by their counselors. We're trying to take this as, these are students that this training is going to count for that CRI.
Yeah.
Find us the students right now who really don't have that path well defined yet.
Yeah.
At least give us those students and you can earn that CRI from the student. Now, we want to branch out. We want to be able to do more, but that's kind of where we're getting our foot in the door right now.
Well, that's where you should start.
Yeah, and identify those students for us first. Let us get in over there. Let us, again, do what we're going to do, and it's going to look good. It's going to be shiny. It's going to be bright. And again, we're going to link those students with employers.
Yeah,
that's the big connection that has to be made there.
That's right.
That's a great segue too. Like we've gone on and we trained a bunch of people, but sometimes we don't have the industry at the labs, and whose job is it? So because we don't want to overreach. We talk about all the time like this is your baby, like we're here to support, and we don't want to overreach, but sometimes like we have to because we see it not happening routinely. Right. So how has that been when you advertise to companies for whichever course it is? What has been that feedback from those folks, and has it been difficult to get them there?
Right now, I'll tell you the easiest part of the project for us has been a heavy equipment operator.
Yeah.
Now we have a long-standing partner, Icarus Construction, for us in Tuscaloosa. He has partnered with us on projects in the past. So when this started developing, we told him, look, this is going to be a game changer for you guys. Because he really wanted us to create our own there at the college. And I said, hold on. If you can hold on, it's coming.
Something right before
yes.
you guys started.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's actually, in this partnership, he's sending us the machinery. We're not renting.
Oh, man.
He's using his connections, right? And so once a month, he gets his... the Thompson tractor brings it over. They drop it off for us. Then off they go. And he's handling that from his side of it. Right. He's also hiring those students as well, which is
win-win.
I'll get the numbers for you, but he's hiring them.
He's hiring them.
He's hiring
That's all I need to hear.
Yeah. So it's again, and it's a tangible way he can see to give back to the college. He was looking for ways to. He's given donations in the past. Of course, we want donations, but this was such a tangible, real way for him to see. Yeah. This is where my money's.
There's an ROI there.
Yes.
And that's what a business wants to see. What's the return I get for this investment? And that is I get trained, not only employees, but I get trained employees out of that. Yeah.
that he's hiring from, right? So it's we love to everybody. Again, we're helping the students. That's always number one. And in helping the students, we're helping local employers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really cool. We had some time today, and I knew there was a dozer lab on our calendar, so we went by there and we pulled up, and Ken and Sherman were out there.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're like your they're older gentlemen, but when you talk to them, it's like talking to your grandpa. It's like talking to Earl French for our manufactured housing.
Right.
It's like I just want to sit talking to this guy. Yeah. And they're so warm, and they still have
they're so wise. Love to hear them talk. Yes.
Yeah. You could, especially Earl has like a voiceover voice. He's just, and he's got this huge, anyway, I'm getting weird. But Ken and Sherman are like, they're just like, there's a light in their eyes about this, so it's really cool. So we watched them for a few minutes, and what was cool is you had 3 dozers going, and they were basically, there's a big mound of dirt, and they were cutting a path through it. So basically building a road. And it was really cool to watch them, and they finally saw us, and we talked to them for a little bit, and they were just so excited, and so I wonder I know you didn't make them that way, but like, what is it like to have that just quality instructor who's so passionate about what they're doing? How does that impact your program?
That makes the program, that makes the whole project, just sail in a good way. Again, you've been in the role that I'm in now. Finding the right instructors is the most difficult part of the project, but when it fits, then it's the easiest.
You just walk away.
You walk away, your work is done. They don't even need me anymore, And I'll tell you, with Sherman and Ken, my feelings are hurt because they brought to us that, hey, Leah and Jeff State has already run an excavator course. Why isn't Shelton running the excavator course? I'm like, what? Tell me more.
Yeah.
No. And they said Shelton needs to do this. And I'm like, they're ambassadors for Skills for Success now.
They are.
All right, before I am. They know. They know information I don't know.
Well, so in all transparency, Jeff State was the pilot for the excavator. So they weren't the first, but it was there.
That get out.
Same thing happened with food and beverages, and actually the same thing happened with fiber.
Yeah.
It's just a hot. But what happens is you have the instructor, you have the students, and so it just kind of goes.
When it works, it works.
It works. And then they were telling us, why isn't Shelton doing this? I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even know.
I told them, I was like, hey, it wasn't made available really, I said, I know that Shelton's already requested for the spring.
We did.
So I said, you'll have that opportunity. So what you need to do is, you guys need to plan to have in the month, you need to have a couple skid steers, a couple dozers, and marrying the roller to the dozer course.
Okay.
So like on second day of dozer, you bring in some rollers, and so now you get experience doing both. And you can do it with skid steer. You can do it with excavator, but it's not the same because the dozers and skids can really mess up some dirt, and let it out rough, and then let the rollers do. But I was like, you guys could have these 8 labs in a month.
Right.
If you had enrollment. And I know that your equipment situation is a little different, so you could probably run some lower numbers and make it happen. But they were like, oh man, yeah. And that they were excited about the roller because they had a chance with that. And that's a 1-day lab. It pays the same, but it's pretty cool. But they were just so excited, and it was just fun to watch them because we watched them for probably 10 minutes.
Right.
And they didn't know we were there.
Good guys, when you find the right instructor, again, you can walk away from it.
Yeah.
And they're advocates for your program. And no matter where they're going, they're telling that story. I love that.
Yeah. Hansfield's instructors are Army National Guard. And that's what they did when they were active duty. They were like, I'm going to butcher it, but that was their job. And then now they're in the Guard, so they still do it. But those guys were like, it was awesome. It was super organized.
Right.
Those guys were jumping in. And the group I saw was with a men's recovery facility.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so these guys were soaking up this authoritative love that they were getting from those 2 instructors. That's really cool. What's been the biggest challenge you've had to overcome with Skills for Success? For any course or any part of it, like what has been the hardest thing to master or figure out? And how did you do it?
I think it really, there's a couple of things there. I think one of the issues that we've already talked about is that instructor.
Yeah.
A challenge for us was finding that fiber optics instructor. That was a hard find for us. I accidentally found our instructor at our WOW event when I went over to one of the businesses and I was like, hey, I'm really looking for a fiber optics guy. He's like, ma'am, we don't do that. That's the other company over there. And do you know this man? He picks his phone up. He says, my cousin does that. And he connects us on text with his cousin, and that's how we found that fiber optics installation, instructor. So it really got a cousin. Everybody has a cousin. So
My cousin wrote it.
Did your cousin?
Really, literally, and he was actually on a previous episode.
Nice.
He's my cousin by marriage, but the funny story is that we were at our aunt organized a Huntsville Madison Trash Pandas group outing because we're all grown and so we made it happen. We were sitting there in the outfield having frosty beverage, and I was like, hey, what do you do exactly? And I was like, well, we're looking for somebody. We're thinking about building a fiber course, and do you want to help? He said, does it pay anything? I was like, I a little bit, but he goes, yeah, I'll help, whatever. So I just connected him to Brandy, and then a year later, Alabama Power is putting it into their line worker course.
Right. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. So, but that's how it works. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Literally just asking the question. Can you do this? Nope. Okay. Can you do this? And then finding that resource and just capturing it. And we say all the time, like, we're successful because of you guys, but because we collectively ask the better question. So you found that guy. What's next for
instructors? Has been for us. I think the other piece to that, when you're talking about, you guys are rolling things out so fast.
Sorry, not sorry.
Right. I mean, like, that sometimes I'm getting requests for something, and I'm like, look, I know they said it was live, but it was just piloted yesterday.
Like, time out.
Right. Come on, guys.
Yeah. We're filling that library full, you like your library.
Hot off
You're
the press.
filling it up.
And they're like, well, no, I saw pictures of it. The training's happening. I'm like, well, the training's not quite in Tuscaloosa just yet. Just give us a minute. We're on it.
That's funny to hear. We wonder about that occasionally.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's out there.
Yeah.
It's out there. And so the high schools, they'll reach out, they'll fill out the interest form.
Yeah.
We've had high schools fill out interest forms before, and I'm like, we've not even piloted that just yet,
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe piloted it over in Illinois or wherever, but I think that's a good issue, not even a good problem, but a good thing, and so we circle back around to those. That's a good one.
So we have about 28 courses. Transportation is a big bundle, and heavy equipment's a big bundle, but collectively about 28 courses. 3 or 4 more coming out this fall. Mental health, community health workers, closes, electrical helper, construction helper.
Manufactured housing.
Manufactured housing is ready. We're actually we need one more touch on the lab, because that's like, you're going to move a thing.
Yeah.
Like, you're moving something, and you can't just go buy that from the store.
Yeah.
So a few of those, and then motor graders coming on fast, and we got a few others that are ready for like February, March. So you're talking about like almost 10 courses coming out in the next 3 months.
Yeah.
So what do you do? And you mentioned that. So is that your approach? Just like, hey, okay, we got it, but give me a minute to handle it, or is there something we can do to help with that, or you just want to keep going?
I mean, we keep going, but I think this did come out in the last couple of weeks. That hey, we're launching this, and I did see the email. Here are some instructors in the North region. Here are some instructors in the South region. Again, it's the instructor piece. It always comes down to the instructor piece.
Yeah,
it does.
Put all the pieces together, make it happen. Yeah, it's a lot easier.
They are the subject matter expert on this. I'm not. You guys are not. They are, and so there has to be that knowledge base, but there has to be that passion for training others. And to find that balance is a one. We see it all the time in truck driving. That's always my toughest program to staff, because a lot of those drivers got on the road because they wanted to be alone. They wanted to be in charge of themselves, and they wanted that solitude. So to find those guys who want to come back and then train, the younger drivers, that's a challenge. So it's,
and that they can relate. Paul, your CDL instructor, he's like Ken and Sherman. Like, there's a light in his eyes. He's just a warm dude. Just wants to help and just point him in a direction, and come back later and see what happens.
And that's what you've got to have for any of our programs. You want to help our students get to where they want to go, because look, it's not a straight path. It's not linear. our students are going to go this way, they're going to go backwards, they're going to go sideways on you, and that's just part of the process sometimes.
Yeah, I got burned on a PLC course one time in accounting. I hired a guy, and he was, I don't know, it was a bad situation. I wasn't prepared. He wasn't prepared, and but that's actually what led me to work with ATN. Like that particular thing was like, I need help, so it worked out. And anyway, yesterday we got an email from one of the colleges asking us if we could help them build a CNC machine operator course. Now, that's not a machinist, right? So we're talking about a machine operator, which is lesser knowledge than a machinist for sure, but that's what they do. That's what that college has been doing. They asked us to help, which is out of our lane that we originally thought we would swim in, which is fine with us. What does that say to you as a workforce development expert at the college? What does that say to you when the colleges start reaching out to us to help them build a course that they already do?
I think that does it make you valid? Does it make you kind of recognizes your worth and your existence and what you guys are doing? All right. I mean, I don't think we need to go there. That's kind of, in a way spiritual, but I'm just saying, it's, it makes you realize you are doing what the state needs. I brought a project to you guys a couple of months ago. We're still tackling it, but logging, that's a huge need in our area of Alabama.
Yeah.
And it's something that I know we can do, but to partner with you guys substantiates it, makes it statewide instead of just Shelton and West Alabama. There are other parts of the state that need that.
Yeah, sure.
And the support that you guys bring to the table on a project of that magnitude is huge. Your network is larger. It means more, to be able to partner on a project, again, of that magnitude. When you launch the CNC, let me know.
She's ready.
I'm ready for it. That sounds
Put
great.
that on her calendar.
Yeah. So we'll I don't know when we'll start that. We're going to have a meeting in early January, but that will move fast because there's so much information already out there.
Yeah.
But what was when you got that email, because we were tagged on it together, what was your thought? To Nicole's point about the validation of what we do, what was your thought about that?
Yeah, I think initially, how can I say this? Initially, we intended on being able to do what's not being done at the colleges, or what colleges are not able to find the resources and the curriculum that may already be existing. And for us, I think maybe this was the second time in 2 weeks that we've had a business or a college say, hey, this is being done, but we want it done a little different. And we see what you produce. We understand the process. We understand the tools and the resources. And we understand the statewide impact, and that it's a credential being recognized by anybody in the industry. I think that's the icing on the cake for us to say, okay, the swim lane we thought we were in, yes, but now we're doing a different, it's different, and it's a different race to be able to support those needs. And that's changing every day. Just from the sheer requests that we get for doing things different and helping industries in a way that I think colleges have been able to do, but may not be able to sustain it long term. And I think even other training entities within the state have maybe, been able to support in the beginning, but how do they sustain training long term? And how do they build upon that? And I think that's what we've really been able to see, some of that long-term goals and long-term, objectives for the Innovation Center is, how do we grow our programs to continually support an industry? And it's doing just that. It's okay, we had a starting point, and it was in a lane that wasn't already being done, right? And now it's, okay, this has opened up and branched us into an avenue that says, okay, this does exist somewhere. We have some curriculum, we have some instructors, but how do we build this together? So it's not only helping the college that requested it, but other colleges can utilize this as well. So that was exciting for us to see. Okay, this is a little different dynamics. We're excited, and we're very open to it, but it does validate what our intent is. But it also kind of puts a little bit of pressure on us for resource-wise, right? Because what we're doing right now, and the team, we have a total of 10 team members right now for the Innovation Center, and that's statewide. And we all have a role and we all have a focus. And when we start branching out into new territory and doing new things, it is a little scary because it's going to take more time and more resources. And then how do we organize and manage all of that and make sure that we're just as efficient and effective with those needs as we are with Skills for Success and the way things have been working.
And to kind of piggyback off of that, you're talking about sustainability.
Yeah.
One thing that we do use Skills for Success for, and I think this is a challenge, for other colleges as well, is use it as a tool to get in the door at your local employers.
10-4.
All right.
That's it.
We're using it. We recently partnered with Truckworks. They have dealerships all across the state.
Yeah.
We're upskilling their existing diesel mechanics using Skills for Success training. We will test those out. But that partnership. Okay, now on the table are future partnerships, future trainings, future, all of that, future revenue makers.
Absolutely.
The same thing, we've partnered with Southland for the same thing. So, when you as a college can go to an employer and say, I can offer this training, it will not cost you anything. I don't even have to write a grant for it.
Yeah.
So there's not the waiting process. That's a game changer. Yeah. And now you're at their table. And so when they have future training needs, okay, this time we might need to write a grant, or this time, here is your invoice. And it gets you in the door.
Yeah.
We've always at Shelton, we've used Alabama Career Essentials the same way. The ACE program used to be ready to work. Hey, let us upskill your entry-level workers. Let us upskill your probationary workers. That's for free. But then you're in the door so that when they need CNC, robotics training, welding training, now we have that relationship.
We'll call Nicole because last time it was really good. Yeah.
Right. They already have my number and they know, give Shelton a call.
That's great.
That's how you use programs like that to get in the door.
Well, we're happy to be that vector for you for sure. There's a oil change place in Decatur on my way home, and it says the sign says, "Yes, we do that." Which I love. I love that.
Very nice.
But it's like now when they call you back, you're like, "Yeah, we do that," or we can because of Custom Skill Solutions, which is January 16, our meeting. We're going to talk about that. It's going to, I don't think, it is going to replace the EITP.
Gotcha.
So that fund, system money is going to move over, but that way you're going to have even more flexibility. We're going to pilot that with
great
January.
I love a good EITP grant.
Oh, man, they're great.
Okay, I love them. They get me in the door, and then they call me for future training.
Right. So we're happy to do that.
Super.
That works out really well. We're not done yet, but what else is going on at Shelton in Shelton Workforce? Like, what are you working on that's maybe it's not Skills for Success, but that's new or consistent, or what do you want all of our moms to hear about when they listen to this podcast?
All of my moms. Let's see. They're watching Houston. Right. I like that one. Let's see. Again, right now we are focused on Skills for Success, to be honest. In that healthy competition, I am working to increase our numbers. We are still, though, doing a substantial amount of healthcare training in our area. Those are not falling under Skills for Success. I've heard talk of you guys are looking at that. We've partnered with the local hospital, DCH. We meet with them regularly to fill that CNA, that PCT need, medication aid. That's always one for us. We've partnered with one of our rural hospitals over in Bibb County, Bibb Medical Center. And that's been a big partnership for us. Being able to go, again, that's about 30, 40 minutes away from the campus, but Bibb has thrown open their doors and they have said, use our facility. So we've set up a lot of mobile training areas in their site, and then they're so good about the outreach in that community.
They're so community focused.
Yeah, they're very community centered, and they want those students to come in, live here, work here, train here.
Yeah.
You don't even have to drive the 30 minutes to Shelton. So
huge.
That's been a big deal for us.
Good for you.
And so we've done a lot of healthcare training this year.
So I think what we're about to roll out, I think we really have 3 courses that can align with that and really support that, especially in a rural community. And I think that's what we've heard. We've got community health worker, operator, ambulance operator, and then also with the mental health.
Okay.
But we also are working on a nursing technician program as well. So actually 4. There are more things through Skills for Success that can help in the healthcare industry.
Well, in healthcare, obviously, that's something that all of us need.
Yeah.
Yep.
We all have to support our local healthcare centers.
CCH twice today.
Sorry. It's important that we support support our healthcare. We support our educators. Society is, but we fall apart when our healthcare and our educational systems start falling apart. So those are two
Very
big
important
ones for me.
partnerships.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Alabama Board of Nursing came to us through Kenneth Kirkland.
Mhm.
He used to be system office, and they're like, hey, we want something for CNA, but we can't call it that. And
Right.
so great. And so we're working through that. But that would be four big things, and I'm sure something else would come along. But so when those things happen for you, and we take a course that's traditionally been whatever around, and now we're kind of consolidating them into a Skills for Success course, do you have to sell that differently, or you just keep saying, hey, this is our course, and people don't notice the name change, or what's that like?
No,
Has it happened?
It would be a different sale. It really would be a different sale, because when we first started talking about our mental health technician program, we were working on this before
Yeah,
we partnered with you guys on it.
it's true.
So initially that was more face-to-face meetings, more face-to-face. And so then we kind of pivoted and said, look, we've partnered with Innovation Center. Again, that Chancellor Baker and the commissioner had their meetings. And so that really shored up that relationship between the two entities. And so it really was, a different sale of they will do portions of it online. And especially when you're talking about healthcare, that's a tough sell.
Yeah.
That's always a tough one. So there was that reassurance of no worries, they will still come in, do face-to-face labs. Here's the competencies that will be covered during that time period. And so we really did need that reassurance for the mental health facilities.
And I think that stems to being able to be more innovative in the way that we offer training. And I think that's what industry is really seeing now. And I think, honestly, when we started with our trainings in the hospitality and construction industries, I think those were two areas that were open to, okay, we need bodies and we need trained personnel. And now we're going into other industries who have not traditionally had online training be a focus, or it's always been face-to-face. But I think in today's economy and with today's, number of job openings in every industry, it's very competitive. And I think the other thing is how rapid we can train. And I think those are two things that have really been in focus in our task force, have asked things like that. And we've had some really deep conversations with our task force. Well, I think our lab needs to be 8 days. And we're like, that's not really our model, but we want to hear what your concerns are, and let's figure out how we work that into what feels comfortable with what has to be, what we do with the assessments on lab day, be very strategic about that. Anything that can be in the online course, we move and adjust, and that's why we pilot it. And that's what we always say, right? That's why we pilot it, because if we need to tweak something or change it, we have the option to do so before it goes statewide.
And we did that with the excavator.
What? I think we have a couple minutes.
Hold on just a second.
55 minutes. We're 55
Okay,
minutes. Wow.
so we'll wrap.
We'll wrap up. Thanks.
I'm not
Nick.
surprised by
Appreciate it.
I'm surprised by that. All right, Nicole, we're almost out of time. So final thoughts from you, like what's next, or what can we do to help Shelton State be successful?
I think for Shelton State, we were really going to take a new look at, again, community partnerships and community ed, and you get non-credit training. We've had a time of transition. Our, again, Dean of Workforce and Economic Development is now the president.
Yeah.
That's a great win for us.
That's a great win for workforce, yeah.
That's a great win for workforce. We're so excited for Dr. Coe. He knows what we're doing. There's no learning curve.
No.
So I think you will see this year a continued push.
Yeah.
For us to, again, to reach more, to partner more, and again, just, find people, bring them in the doors or go to them.
Yeah.
And so that mobile training is a huge selling point for employers and students. So I think you'll see just a renewed look on that. And again, have it, with a president who has absolutely bought into workforce, I'm looking forward to this year.
I had a boss like that once, and it was amazing having that kind of guy on your back because he knew what you needed to do.
Yep.
Yeah, Julie, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've been able to see Nicole and her team work, obviously, over the last few years, and they do such an amazing job. Anytime we've ever asked, hey, will y'all try something or do this, they're always amazing and make it work and always successful. But we appreciate really you being here today, your openness to really talk about how you're making things work through Skills for Success, and all the great things that are happening at Shelton State and here locally in Tuscaloosa. So thanks again for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks. So, Julie, you want to close us out?
Yes, I can. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in to Innovation Unplugged. Don't forget to like, follow, and share on all of the podcast platforms. Take care.